Strand. Get stranded!
I'm most excited for Strand. That's going to be super epic, just to introduce a new damage type.
What's cool about Strand is it can take so many forms.
The first time players see some new super action for Strand is going to be really exciting.
Strand makes all exotics useless.
Strand is the...
You want to see Strand over new content? No way! I want to see Strand over new campaign.
network of metaphysical connection.
We're getting metaphysical, baby! Holy God! I don't even know what that means. Metaphysical, that word's not in the Bible.
Past, present, future. We call it the weave. Anytime a guardian needs to use strand, revealing all the strands around them, reaching in, weaving weapons.
You can't even use weapons while using strand.
Each of the supers kind of reflect that idea, weaving into needles, weaving it into a giant rope dart, weaving it into claws.
Ruined PvP already. I can see it, just like stasis.
Revealing it as these green strands in the world.
Strand doesn't even have cooldowns. Glass needles are back again. Re-roll exotics with strand?
Was definitely like something that we were excited about because it stood apart from other damage types. It kind of gave it like its own visual language.
It's kind of crazy you have to delete one of your subclasses to use strand though. That's a decision.
World strands are the things that are like more organic, flowing. It almost looks like a curtain of strands that flick.
Curtains? What are we, interior decorating?
In and out of reality. The idea of like the strings, like the strands lighting up the world. I think that was when everything kind of started to come together, and like that starts to then influence what's the design? What is the VFX going to look like? What does audio sound like for it?
What does green sound like?
We really wanted to visually show that there's some sort of order in the universe or some sort of chaos. But when players take it in, they're weaving these weapons of destruction.
When developing Strand, we wanted the emotional fantasy to be based on ropes and strings, and the mechanical fantasy to be rapid movement, creating objects out of these strands.
They're smoking a whole lot of something over at Bungie.
You are in each of your super states. You have these strand elements that are on you that are connected from above.
Oh my God, look at him spin the thing.
Are in
spin it
super states. You have these strand elements that are on you that are connected from above. Things that you create are constantly revealing this world of strands around you.
String theory.
Spike, the hunter's melee ability, will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If
Strand, you don't need to aim the game.
I press the melee button again, as it comes back to me, I will catch it, and that gives me melee energy for the next time I want to use it.
You can ability spam? That's new.
As a VFX artist, we came up with this idea of when it goes out, let's put a bunch of additional communication on it to make it look more dangerous. And when it comes back, we don't add that stuff, and it's simpler, and then it feels...
I'm gonna kill myself with my own dart thing.
It's less dangerous, and then that's when we know that we did it right, when you're not even questioning it. But getting to that point is definitely...
Does Strand even have a cooldown? No, you just spam buttons constantly. Pay to win. You gotta buy Lifefall to have it. Wow.
A challenge, and each one of the strand abilities, I feel like, have these little twists in there.
It's so important that you can tell what it is at a moment's notice.
And then as we go through the process, there's revisions and refining it based off of play tests.
Sometimes there are small visual changes. Sometimes it's like overall big differences. And I think a good example is the Titan Super.
Titan Super OP, already nerf it. I know it's going to be OP. If you're not running Titan, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please run Titan. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the first non-melee super that Titan's ever had.
Had this really cool swipe attack that was severing enemies, but it was hard to chase those enemies down. We need a long-range attack for the Titan.
Long-range attack. Okay, here we go. I told you.
That is going to enable us to get close with the melee attack.
But it's still melee. Awesome.
Attack them, and Suspend was a natural choice for that.
One really cool thing we're introducing with Strand is the ability to suspend combatants.
I like to be suspended.
Combatants are lifted up into the air. They're suspended in these strand webs.
Their limbs are now like connected to
Strap me
these
down.
invisible strands. And
Strap
they
me
are
down.
Vulnerable. Then you can then start to set up combos on top of that, or even just I need to take a breath moment.
That really gives you and then your fire team members an opportunity to kind of set up 1-2 punch kind of combos. Sometimes you can use it more as utility and provide support for your team, and so I think that's going to
I want that to be me. Moving on.
create like a lot of opportunities where Strand's going to be valuable no matter what. I think it was really that moment where everything kind of like clicked, and we're like everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
What is it?
A big part of Strand looking at the concept art that we tried to clue into was the idea of cosmic webs. What do cosmic webs sound like?
Anything that kind of evoked this feeling of tension and pulling. Things like
Stop it!
recording us rubbing on plastics, leather gloves.
We would string out a big sheet of plastic wrap and running our fingers along it in really weird
No! How about a Kirkland brand and you crunch it and you twist? That's not the same.
performative ways.
We actually start taking these sounds and combining them together and creating new things that are starting to sound a little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
That's my ankles when I take damage from falling.
Just kind of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
What are you doing? Okay, balloons with small marble spheres. What?
Part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Do they know real life magic at Bungie? Real life magic at Bungie confirmed.
Some wacky things have happened as we've developed strands, interactions we didn't necessarily anticipate. When you pick up a tangle and you throw it, you can grapple to that tangle, and you're sailing through the air after this tangle, which can then hit an enemy, blow them up, and then you just swoop in and fall.
Jumping is completely useless in Destiny 2 with Strand. Jump nerfed. You got to grapple everywhere.
Blow up.
Designers will find these bugs that will come back and be like, oh, actually, you can do this. And you're like, let's double down on that, you know?
Bugs confirmed.
Let's make that bug a feature.
Bugs confirmed.
One of the
Strand is a bug.
about the way that we work at Bungie is we will take someone's awesome idea, and through playtesting, through iteration, we can keep tweaking it and make the idea better.
And then as we start to add the animation support, the VFX support, the audio support, that's when it really starts to come to life.
Yeah, Sparrow's being taken out with Strand. You don't need Sparrows if you have Strand.
All of that goes into making Strand this quality new damage type.
You can imagine how it could work on paper, but then when we actually have the final result, wow, this is gonna be something special.
And feels like nothing else I've ever played before.
As players experiment and figure out all the weird things they can do, they're gonna get even more excited.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Like this is it.
Once it goes live, then it's like, all right, let's see where players take it, and that's actually really exciting.
I'm going to get my teammate to shoot a Gallahorn shot, and I'm going to Strand grapple to it, and I'm going to just into Destiny 3.